The exact thing we're doing.
Overwatch. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Gauntlet Review Everything Esports News. I'm your host, Captain Zeus, followed by my co-host, JT at Novaverse. And today we're going to talk about why the Overwatch League is dead and our predictions for week 14 of the Overwatch League. I can never keep track because I thought it was 12, 13, 14, and then for some reason I was a week behind because they canceled a week or postponed it. I was like, what the anyways.
You're good.
First things first. Here's our matches for this week. Day 1, we have a rematch with Shanghai and Seoul Dynasty. It'll be spicy AF. We got Chengdu versus London. Finally get to see some London after 2 months. New York versus Guangzhou. Paris versus LA. Vancouver against Washington. A lot of matches here. Atlanta versus Houston. And to conclude day 1, LA Valiant versus Boston. RIP Boston. Day 2, we have Hangzhou versus Shanghai. London versus Guangzhou. Dallas versus Philly. Toronto versus San Francisco. And to conclude day 2, we have Vancouver versus Florida.
Oh, that's so funny. It's so funny.
So first things first, Vancouver taking 2 L's this week. I know it's a fact.
It's a big oof.
It's not their week this week, basically.
Oof. This week has not. First, you lose your head coach, and then one of your players, and then the organization's like, we're going to drop everyone, and then get someone from contenders to replace you guys for the rest of the season. And mind you guys, this team, that roster, was the second best team last year. It was arguably the second best team this year as well. And then they just dropped them. Obviously, there was a bunch of issues that happened behind the scenes, but that's just sad, man.
It's the end of Overwatch as we know it. And I actually feel fine.
Wow, you seem very chipper for a guy that just lost another top 5 team.
Okay. One more spot for Dallas to move up.
That's it? Usually, if everyone else loses and Dallas is in the top, I'm cool. Is that how it works?
Dallas and New York, baby. That's all.
Yeah.
Reload.
Because I respected Vancouver, and I was like, if they're on my list, they're on my list. You know what I mean? But it wasn't a team I was always paying attention to. But, with this happening, basically the whole roster like, hey, peace out. If they move around, I couldn't care less. Like JT said, that's room for us other teams to get into the top 10. Thank you very much. So
Boston's still not going to be top.
Boston still won't.
So here's
20 to 10. No problem.
Okay. First off, let's play a thought experiment.
Okay.
What if I know this is very unlikely. What if Vancouver becomes the number 1 team with the contenders team?
What?
What does that say about the Overwatch League?
That means that the Overwatch League is just crap.
Or
if a contenders
tried
team
really hard
can just destroy the rest of the professional tier 1 teams, that's sad. Especially with all the hype that's been going around.
Or we got some hidden gems. Maybe some little hidden Jerry's.
That's a full roster. What you talking about?
A full roster of Jerry's were in contenders.
Oh, God, that's terrifying.
Okay, so like, this realistic question.
Okay.
How goes the sissing going on? Yeah.
3. Realistic. Will Boston still be the worst team by the end of the year? Or will it be Vancouver?
Oh, that's a good question there. I'm still going to go with Boston being the worst team.
I am too.
Because Florida 3-0'd them twice. The first time, literally set records. Even if Vancouver, is a bad team because, contenders, I still think Vancouver is going to be better than Boston.
I really don't think we can judge them this week, though, because let's be real. They just got brought in. They have 3 days to practice.
If even.
A brand new matchup. And I'm sure, they play Overwatch all the time.
Oh, heck yeah.
But they're not practicing for these types of teams. So, and do they even have coaches? Are they bringing their coaches
I think they're bringing their coaches from what I was seeing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but their coaches haven't been preparing for these matches either.
My thing is, too, this season for Vancouver is going to be crap because it's going to take let's say, like, what, 5-6 weeks for them to actually get acclimated to how the Overwatch League works with the players, the rosters, the metas, all that stuff. And then by the time they even get acclimated, it'll be playoffs for the end of the season. And then they're just kind of like,
can we all say if they don't come in, if they can make it past, if they can end the year at 18, that's a victory for that squad. Anything higher is an amazing feat.
I could say higher than 16. Than
16?
Yes. Just because there's already some bottom tier teams that we could see them beating or losing to Vancouver, the contenders version. Like, Toronto, you have Washington. Those teams are bad. But, it's kind of iffy if they'll be able to beat that Vancouver team. So if they can get above 16, then that's a good feat.
Would you say at 16? Because that means they're top – out of the bottoms, they're the top.
I could say that, yeah, at 16.
I'm just trying to – let's make a realistic goal for Vancouver. Because
at the end of the season, I want it on the good side – for me to have any hope or faith in them to be above or at 16.
Because they are,
yeah. And it's not like they're amateurs. They know, they're semi-pro.
But so far they haven't been able to prove themselves enough to make it on any roster. So
until this,
yeah, until
get rid of an entire team and they slide in there.
So I have hopes. I would love it if they just came in and became a top team. I think that would be so funny.
Yeah, for you.
I think it would be the funniest thing that I've ever seen in Overwatch, except Shanghai, losing every game. But that was pretty funny. And I like Shanghai.
That was embarrassing. And then they come back and literally almost win the season 2. That was good.
Good luck, Vancouver. I think that's what everyone's saying. I don't think anyone's rooting against Vancouver. Okay, maybe the organization, but the players. That's pretty messed up if you're rooting against them at this point.
I'm not rooting against the players.
The
org itself is just really bad. Like, their management's so bad, especially from what you hear, what was going on behind the scenes. Good Lord, I feel bad for the players.
Yeah, the organization, I'm not behind. The players that they've now got, I am behind them for the sole reason of y'all have been put in a really rough spot and imminent losing ahead, more than likely.
Oh, heck yeah.
And that's rough.
And like speaking on the topic of management too, like this isn't like something we were like surprised about. It was like, oh, it's just a matter of time. Oh, it's gonna happen. Like they were like it was no secrets or anything. We've been knowing about it. It was just like, okay, when's the dam gonna break? You know what I mean? So to have that happen to your team, franchise, or whatever, that's an L, man. That's a huge L.
A good team.
On a great team too. Yes, exactly.
Top 5.
That's what's so upsetting. Is a good team just got dissolved.
And if this was Boston,
nothing,
I'm sure no one would care. Everyone would be like, oh, thank God. Jerry will finally get on a good team. Boston will actually have a redemption arc. But no, this is arguably one of the best teams in the league.
They can fix their stuff. But this is a good team, and they just lost everyone. That's depressing. You don't get to see good teams all that often. There's a reason it's like the top 5. We always talk about this. It's because it's so hard to put a roster together like that.
And they were, fighting for that number 1 spot, and now they're fighting to stay out of the bottom.
I think it's so funny. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about them. Hey, are they number 1? Are they number 4? True. And now we're like, I would be really proud of them if they make it to the 16th spot.
Yeah, it's just survival mode for them right now. They're just probably just finished the season. You know what I mean? Hopes for a redemption arc in the finals is gone.
God.
So don't even think about that. Just finish the season. That's all I can say. That's all for them.
Now, real quick, for these Vancouver matchups, I'll start with you, JT. How do you think these predictions or, the results for the matches are going to end with Washington and Florida? I know you like to say they're neck and neck. So how do you think Vancouver, this new team's going to
do? Dude, I would be stoked if Vancouver could take 2 games off both of them.
Combined or separately?
Separately. If they could take it to a game 5. No. Game 5s, I would be stoked.
Oh, okay.
I think they will take 1 match. At least. I think it will be a 3-1. because
Okay.
the other teams don't have any scouting info really on them either. So both teams are going in blind. I think both of these rosters are probably better. I don't really know anything about the new Vancouver teams or, all their new players, but I mean, I would be stoked if they took it to a game 5.
Okay. Nova?
Honestly, Vancouver, new team going up against Washington. Washington has been so shaky this year. One moment we're talking about, damn, they're fantastic. They'll make it, bust into the top 10, and then they just into the pooper, just shot down. That's the only team I have high hopes that Vancouver can get wins over. I think that's the only team that they can possibly win against. I actually going to give hope to Vancouver that, they might be able to win against Washington. But this one's definitely going to be a close match, I think. Definitely. Okay. Against Florida, I'm not a big fan of Florida. I don't know why. I never can get behind them. But Florida is a team of which I got to respect still. And this Vancouver team is not going to do well against this Florida. I'm honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was a sweep or a 3-1 on that part right there.
I think they could be very proud of a 3-1 against Florida.
Just
heck yeah.
Florida's not a bad team.
No, they're not.
I mean, they're not like a top 5 team, but they're not a bad team by any stretch.
Yeah, they're not a bottom tier team.
If they could take a match off of a team like that, they have hope to make it to 16th, 15th.
I see them beating Washington. I see it being a 3-1 or a sweep just because Washington isn't that good. But I could see a 3-1 because, we don't know that much about the new team. It could go to a game 5, we don't know. But
let's not get too overzealous here. Remember, this is a contenders team versus, an Overwatch professional team.
Right, but just I don't know.
So
just for me,
board,
Washington's been going on a decline, as I've been saying for a while. So I don't see this being any different. But I could see him. I could see him winning possibly. I just don't think it'll happen.
Man, that's a stretch though, because if those people are all considered free agents, right? Mm-hmm. So you can come in and pick up anyone off this roster. Washington could have picked up any of these players at any moment, and they didn't. So they think their roster is stronger across the board than this entire roster.
Yeah, they're not. We'll have to see.
That's what they think.
It's going to be a fight, I think, against Washington. Vancouver.
Washington is on like a steep decline.
They're sliding down.
They're on like a mine cart with no rails, like just speeding down a mountain.
I don't see them winning against Florida. I could see them taking a map off of Florida, though, but Florida's been looking pretty strong. I mean, they went against Boston 2 weeks in a row, which doesn't really say much, no offense. But regardless,
2 free wins.
It was 2 free wins. They did, they've been doing pretty decent lately, taking some L's here and there, but they're a middle-tier team. But I see them winning against Vancouver for sure.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here.
Oh, the legendary bold prediction?
Yeah.
All
Soul 3-0.
Say that again?
Soul 3-0ing Dragons Revenge Time.
Are you serious?
It's my prediction.
Okay. That is quite a statement.
I think this is their bounce back week.
I love both of these teams. I do. I literally have clothes for them. And their hoodie, the Seoul Dynasty hoodie, is super, super comfortable. I've been wearing that for like a week. I honestly do not. Please sponsor us. I don't see them 3-0ing Shanghai. I could see this going to a game 5 or even like a 3-1. But the way Seoul's been playing lately, I think Shanghai's going to win this one, to be honest. And like I said, I love Seoul. I love them. I've been rooting for them. And same thing with Shanghai. I have high hopes for both these teams. But I just think Seoul's they've hit a really bad bump, and they need to come back. I just don't think it's this week.
Yeah, Shanghai, they've been on fire, like legit winning streak right now, super hot.
Super hot fire.
And Seoul last week getting swept by 2 Chinese teams that we consider to be, one of them to be considered on the lower end. And, this might be Seoul picks it back up. They probably, after those 2 losses, they're like, okay, we can't have that happening again. Let's go back to the fundamentals. Let's cover up weaknesses and problems we had. So I think this one is going to be against a team that's just on a hot winning streak. They feel fantastic versus a team that's like, okay, we need a redemption. We need to prove ourselves. So that's why I think it can go to a game 5 because they're going to be fighting it out. Just like they want this win really badly over each other. Who I think will come out on top, I feel like Shanghai. I feel like they're more hungry. They're hot on this winning streak. I mean, there's nothing stopping them. They want to aim to the top. You know what I mean? They want to get to Philly and New York and all that. So that's why I think Shanghai is going to be more hungry for this win. Game 5.
Holding to my prediction 3-0. Shanghai. No, I'm
So-
sorry. Seoul.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was Seoul only plays that one matchup this week, so I mean that's good for them. They can get another, a day break to kind of plan for next week because these Chinese teams have been playing a lot.
Yeah.
And I think day 2 you have Shanghai against Hangzhou, which Shanghai is probably going to beat them 3-0 because Shanghai is just they've proved that they're the top in that region.
Listen, I don't even have any reason behind it other than they kind of got embarrassed last week. So 3-0. How about them? That team that doesn't actually play Overwatch anymore.
That team that doesn't play Overwatch anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
the ones you're fanboys of.
Listen.
Here we go. Drum roll.
Listen, Linda. London Spitfire versus Chengdu Hunters. I love me some London Spitfire. I've always had a weak spot for them. Ever since figuring out about the Overwatch League, the colors of them,
He has.
I was like, that's my team right there. Blue and orange. Wow, that's bold.
Weird color scheme.
But what's it called, man? I've been waiting for London to play, to be honest, man. It's been forever. I know they've been discussing on social media about like, hey, guys, I know you're waiting for us to play, but we're trying to figure stuff out. COVID-19 going around. We need to figure stuff up. So, honestly, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for Glister. Too bad Reaper's gone because, Glister would have been popping up. But I still think he can be hot. London in this one, I'm hoping they're super ready.
Super hot fire?
Yeah, they should be really anxious to play. They got time to practice and such. So coming up against Chengdu Hunters, I'm sorry, Chengdu Hunters. I like y'all, but not as much as London. They're gonna come in. It's gonna be a 3-1. I'm putting it out there. A 3-1.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Except I think it's the other way.
Oh.
London's only winning one game. I think they have gone on such a long hiatus. I don't even know if they know how to plug their keyboards in anymore.
I mean,
Let's be
they're
real.
just not eating ramen and just chilling around the house. They're obviously doing something.
That's what I would do.
Listen, I understand the thought process there, but I didn't understand London before. And after 2 months of them not playing, I definitely don't understand them now. So I didn't really I watched every one of their games recently, like over this last week to prepare for these matchups. And I don't understand how they were getting their wins before. It was kind of just like random things happening and teams making huge blunders, which I just think so far every other team has so many more matches. The Chinese teams have been playing a lot. So they're not going to have any rest. But I think it's 3-1 the other way.
I could see. I mean, I know London. They started off the season pretty bad, like really bad, literally worse than Boston. But then all of a sudden they started doing really good. Had a little redemption arc there before the virus hit, and was just on a win streak, just climbing up the ladder. And then the hiatus hit, and everyone's like, "Okay, what now?" And we hadn't seen London for like the first month. They're like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna play," and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, because of the virus, we have to wait till the next month." So it has been like 2 months of them not playing. That will be a huge factor against, like JT said, these Chinese teams that have constantly, nonstop, week after week, been going against each other. I could see, Chengdu winning. I could see London winning. I don't think London will do it in a dominant fashion. I could see that more of a 3-2 situation. But to be honest, my prediction is going to go Chengdu 3-1, possibly 3-2 winning over London.
Weak.
Well, London hasn't played in like forever. Like, see what happened with Vancouver when they didn't play forever, and that was just a month. They got
Yeah,
swept by the Chinese teams, and then
let's be
San
real.
Francisco
Then
lost.
again-
I don't
to
think
LA
they were
teams.
practicing though.
They,
I mean, that's the whole thing is they haven't played for a while.
do you
No,
think they were playing seriously though? Like,
I don't think that team was actually, from what everything I've seen on the back end, that team was fighting with their organization and refusing to play.
yeah, they were done.
They were purposely losing games.
That makes sense.
So because they were so angry at the organization, they were not playing to win games. That's why it was so one-sided. They weren't like scrimming. They weren't preparing for anyone. They were just doing the bare minimum because they were mad at the organization.
That would be
It
true.
was very spiteful, which I don't blame them.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't either.
players on this side. Who cares about the organization?
Yeah, Chris organization.
Now I'm sure JT is gonna love that next
3-0.
matchup from date. What? Dang! Just right off the bat, 3-0.
What'd you say?
Who said better
3-0?
team?
3-0 New York.
Listen, kid.
Better team.
Listen, I'm gonna keep on saying this. Listen, Linda. Gung
Well, you got to make a
Zhao.
point before you tell me to listen.
Gung Zhao.
That's their name.
Do you know what they did to Seoul last week? I don't know if you heard,
Okay,
but they
Hey, calm
beat the
down
living
there.
crap out of
Calm
Seoul.
down there,
You
buddy.
Sit down. I'm talking to this boy right here.
I'm sorry, what? Who cares what they did to Seoul?
I care because if I
Which is
remember
ranked
last
higher,
time,
Seoul or New York? Which has a better team fighting team? New York.
that's debatable.
Who doesn't have weak points? New York. You know why they don't have
Okay,
weak points?
okay, you
Because
can't
they don't
say
have a
that
star.
because they're in second, and you know why you're in second? Because there's obviously a weak point that doesn't make you first. So
Yeah,
sit down.
you know
let
what
me
the weak
finish.
point is? I'll tell
Hey.
you what the weak point is. You can have this 7 days a week. I'll tell you this all the time. I've been saying it all year. The weak point is we don't have any stars. The reason we're second, Philadelphia has a better stars.
Oh
They have
man.
more star power. They have guys who can just go off and win the game for them. The reason they're second is because that's the most loaded roster in the league right now. Now, if Philadelphia stays hot, they'll stay there all season. I don't see anyone who
Probably
can take them down. But the problem with having people who just go off is occasionally they don't, and you lose matches that you shouldn't. New York's just consistently winning games like they always do. Now, the reason we don't win championships is because other teams have the ability to just go off in a playoff game, and then we're done. And New York doesn't have that.
You got
So I
my
think
man
it's
all riled up.
like
I'm gonna hop back in because I was talking. So
yeah, you're talking nonsense.
it's not even nonsense. Okay, listen, Gung Zhao beat up Seoul, okay, in a 3-0 fashion.
Just calm down.
And honestly, I've been saying this, Gung Zhao, they are a wild card. Sometimes they look like, oh, we're weak defenseless or whatever. But then when they go up against big teams, they like rip off their shirts and they have 6-packs
What?
and bulging chest. Yeah.
Okay, let's get gay there. Let's calm down.
Okay.
This is
See,
kinda getting
Gung Zhao
I need an adult.
is it's like the best wild card because you don't know what's gonna happen. Okay,
I thought it was
You
three
don't.
wild cards.
you don't.
Hold on. You can't say that for every Chinese team.
I didn't say that for every Chinese
That's
team.
the argument y'all had for Hunters. And what happened there?
I don't
They
have
got
that argument with them.
stomped.
Okay, listen, I said that about Hunters last time, but Gung Zhao's more of a wild card. Okay, see, Shangdu's like a draw 2 card, but Gung Zhao is a Uno wild +4. Okay,
Okay, let me
that's
before
more
you
the
even
wild card.
go to the next argument, because I know what it's going to be. New York's rusty. They are rusty. Those
I
are
wasn't
the
gonna
only
say that.
arguments y'all ever have for New
How's
York.
that? How are they rusty? They literally played like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you know what happened?
They lost the first week.
They
Yeah.
lost one game. That's it. Against a good team.
It's pretty
Chill
rusty.
out.
You
pretty-
asked. I just
pretty
gave an
rusty.
answer is all.
They beat the Chinese teams. They spanked them.
I'm gonna put this out here. Gonna give you guys the benefit of the doubt. 3-1, Gung Zhao. You get to win a game. You get to win a game.
Okay,
They'll
before
let you win. Yeah, take
okay,
your mic-
JT's about to have a
take your-
mental breakdown, so
Take
we're
your
gonna
headset off.
move off
Take
of
your
that.
headset off.
We're gonna go to Paris, LA before JT has a mental breakdown.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
it's 3-0.
Okay, let's calm down.
I like
Paris,
this matchup.
Paris is gonna win this one for sure.
No,
yes.
it's a game 5.
I
LA
see
wins.
this being a 3-1, possibly game 5, but Paris is gonna win this one for sure.
No, it's game 5. LA takes it at the last minute.
Why the last minute?
Last map.
I was about to say the last minute of the entire game. They
Yeah.
take it. That's it.
Last map. So I'm going to give you a roadmap for how this game works out.
I like roadmaps.
I think Paris wins the first game
Mm-hmm.
and the second game, and it gets reverse sweeped.
You could have just said the first half.
Yeah, it's more interesting when I break it down all the way.
Play by play.
I think it's gonna go LA winning the first game, and then Paris the next 3.
I believe in the order, and the order is that the Gladiators are the guardians of the top 10.
Paris is
So-
still in the top 10.
Exactly. So Paris will have to beat up the Guardian and be like, "You are 10. Stay at 10.
You are 10.
Stay at 10." And so Paris will be. I love Gladiators. I don't know why. Maybe it's purple. I like purple.
You don't like Valiant either.
It's
Yeah,
a
but that's because they are
complicated relationship.
just a bad team.
Valiant?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
It's so weird. I don't know. It's like two
Talk about
Texas
them in a
teams. You're like, I can't stand Houston, but I love me some Dallas. You know what I mean?
You
it's
always
like
side
that.
against me.
It's so weird. You know what I mean?
We'll get to that in day 2. Don't worry.
But I think Paris, yes, will restore the balance in a 3-1
In the galaxy.
fashion.
Thank you.
A 3-1 fashion.
Now, a matchup that will literally not even have to go over: Atlanta versus Houston. As you can see, I'm not wearing anything Houston related because I have no faith in that team in this matchup.
Can I tell you something?
You can.
I think this is actually a trap game for Atlanta. Because
Please
what
don't
if
say what I
Houston-
think you're going to say.
They're not going to lose, but I think it's going to be embarrassingly close.
Like a game 5?
Yes,
No, my gosh.
I do. I think Atlanta wins this game, but Houston has like everything that Atlanta is bad at. That you have like 3 DPS that you
It's
can
true.
interchange,
Whenever.
completely change the style, and they're hyper aggressive.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And so is Atlanta. They love to just like run in and kill everyone. But what happens when the other team is also running at you trying to kill you? You just
You have 2
Some-
Reinhardts colliding and they're both stunned. That's it.
well, sometimes when you just run in and the other team runs at you, you lose. So I think this is going to be embarrassingly close for a game that should not be. It should be a 3-0. And
I think this will be an Atlanta 3-0 because Muma's going to let us
Yep.
down again. I think I'm blaming this all on Muma again because god dang it.
Keep on
That
calling them out.
man, he is so bad. The only thing he's good at is Winston.
Let
and
them
that's
know.
an iffy.
It makes
And-
me sad that
Time to leave
Atlanta's
Houston.
roster is so good, and I think they have a possibility of losing this matchup. It just makes me sad.
Is it because they lost against Valiant last week? You have some doubts now.
No, it's not even that. It's just I already see it playing.
You
out
will
in my
see it
mind.
in the future.
I really do. I can see this matchup and be like, oh God, don't do it to me, Atlanta. I know you want to. I think it's a game 5.
Uh,
I thought that was crazy, dude.
I don't think you
Jeez.
should worry. Don't worry.
I think it's a
Speaking
game
of
5 and it just
beating
doesn't-
Paranoid.
Atlanta last week, LA up against Boston. Literally don't even have to do anything about that. That's an LA 3-0, right? Yeah,
I like how I was trying to say paranoid, but I said steroid.
how
You're just
And moving on,
steroid.
3-0.
yeah, steroid.
Steroid.
So 3-0, 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0 Boston.
Oh, what?
You're full of it.
You are
lie.
full
I'm
of it.
so full of it.
There's
I-
really, you know,
I
That's
say this
3-0
every
by
week whenever someone
4-0.
goes against Boston. Boston has nothing to lose. They're gonna go crazy, and you know,
Oh, you
Has it
said that
happened
when they
yet?
went against Florida 2 weeks in a row. And as I've said many times,
well, that doesn't
Florida
count
just
because
spanked them.
that
No
doesn't
baby
count.
powder.
Because are you serious? Do you
Pretty
know
serious.
the state of Florida?
It's
They're more crazy. Okay,
I was like the
than-
team
than-
or like the actual
Okay.
state because they're kind of in 2 different areas right now. Just
Both.
saying. Okay,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Florida is a bunch of bullies. Did you see what they post against Boston?
Florida's Twitter is savage.
Exactly. They are a bunch of bullies. So I'm glad we're done with Florida. But yeah, we'll just beat some KSF, KSP, and then go to KFC after they win.
I'm pretty sure we have applied now. Who's going to destroy you guys?
Nope, going to KFC after we win. KFC.
I'm like 90% sure I just like zoned out because I cared so little about Boston. And you're
you only care about Jerry. That's it. When someone says Jerry, your intention's back on.
Whoa! Wait a minute, Jerry.
Then they sub in Jerry.
Love to talk about some Jerry.
Well, don't worry, we're not doing that this week because we're going to go to day 2 because that matchup was not interesting whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, Shanghai is going to win this one, but I see someone is repping a certain jersey. Could the audience see what jersey this is?
Yeah, definitely.
They're not seeing the shoulder pads. I said the jersey.
You can see all this. Yeah, you want to see all this?
Don't say that.
Got some spark.
Actually, pretty spicy.
Yeah, man. I'm wearing the Godspeed. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I'm wearing the Godspeed. Don't worry, I'll post some pictures of it later.
That's
I
nice.
got you.
I actually kind of like that jersey.
But yeah, man, I love me some Hangzhou Spark.
You know, if they just weren't such a random team, I would love them.
You know what? If you weren't such a random person.
Look at blacked out. It's all like black and gray.
What? Are you just wearing a black shirt?
I think so.
I'm sorry,
Can you
but
see the
I
outline
hate
of a
that
rooster?
shirt. You can't see anything on it.
That shirt looks so sick in full daylight, and that's it.
This is true. It looks
in
amazing.
shadow.
Like, see how there's a shadow like this? You see nothing. That's
Black. That shirt is so sick when you're in full light.
Exactly.
As soon as you walk into any room or under shade, it's like, what the fuck are you wearing? Just black?
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's a black shirt.
Yeah. So we already talked about the Shanghai match. London.
Excuse me, I wasn't done.
Oh, it sounded like you were done.
3-1.
I'm not done.
3-0.
We're talking about your nasty shirt.
It's not nasty. It's actually
So
pretty spicy.
Shanghai, they're gonna be high on the win against Seoul.
That was so bad. Don't
That
ever
was
do that
so
again.
good. It's so good.
Leave the memes to us.
I love the puns.
Man.
They're gonna feel fantastic after this win, and you know they're gonna be so high on their high horse that they're gonna be like,
Why are you still doing this bit?
"Woo! Yeah, we beat
This
Seoul."
is the worst
And
analogy I've ever heard.
Hangzhou Spark
really
is gonna
bad.
be like,
I have a question for you. Have they ever beaten Shanghai?
I think so. I think so.
That was not a confident answer.
I think so.
We're
So
gonna take this as a no.
if you look on the schedule, it's literally a finger gun pointing at a dragon, and the dragon's not looking. He's looking that way. So
You're
it's
gonna
actually an
shoot.
execution.
It's not, though.
Henceforth, since it's an execution, it's going to be a 3-0 Hangzhou Spark execution.
That's quite a statement. It's
It
a
is
hand
decent.
against a
It's
dragon.
a wrong statement.
It is a wrong statement. But we shall move on because we don't
You know
want to.
who had hands? Roy Mustang, and he was an incredible person.
What does this have to do? Go home. What are you talking about?
Are you okay?
Putting that out there.
I mean, I was having a stroke earlier this week, but I think now you are.
Are we just taking turns on having strokes now? Is mine's next week? Because I don't like.
yeah,
how this is
you're
going.
scheduled for next week.
London versus Guangzhou or Guangzhou, however you guys want to say that. I see the Charge winning this one.
Yep.
Yeah,
So you never pick my teams.
technically this is your team. I see them winning 3-2 though.
They're both my teams. So,
So I have
but
to pick one.
guess
I have
what?
to, yeah.
I love me some London still. I think they're going to do phenomenal this week, okay? Because they're going to get 2 wins out of this week. I know I talked about Guangzhou being a wild card, but guess what? Now,
You
their
have to
wild
contradict
cardness,
that.
no, I'm not going to contradict it. They're going to use all their wild card efforts on New York, thus running out of wild card is
Is there like a meter where it's just like
That's a
wild
word.
card after
You
one
have-
match it's out?
You have 3. It recharges every month.
Look it up. Yeah, there's a recharge, okay? There's a
Cool.
cooldown.
There's a
okay?
cooldown
They're
time
gonna
with
run
this.
out against New York. They're gonna run out of it, and go against London, and they're not going to be prepared because London is going to shoot them down. It's going to be in a 3-1 fashion because I love getting Gunzow the benefit of the doubt. So, yeah, there you go.
I gave him 3-2, and that's a benefit of the doubt. 3-1's not that much of a doubt.
3-2 as well.
Gunzow is the
3-1
worst
London?
out of the no. 3-2 Gunzow.
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm saying 3-1 London.
Yeah, and we're giving both teams the benefit of the doubt, saying it'll go to a game 5.
Yes, but I don't think there's any way London wins this game.
Because Gunzow, they're the worst Chinese team, but they're still good, and they've been playing for like a month and a half nonstop.
Yeah. I think LA's going to have – I'm sorry, not LA. London's going to have a really rough time coming back into the league.
Agreed. I think they're the only team left that hasn't played yet, like in this 2-month span.
Yeah, it's been like 2.5 months since they played last.
They're fine. Don't worry about it.
That's a long time for no Overwatch.
It's a long
Especially
time.
when – and like I said, I just went back and watched all their games. I couldn't figure out how they were really winning. It seemed like they were just – like
no one expected them to win anyway.
capitalizing. No, it was like they were capitalizing off of other teams making huge mistakes, which I think when you haven't
That's
played
great.
in 2 months, you're not going to be able to do that as well. And other teams have been playing for 2 months. They're not going to make as many big mistakes, especially the Chinese teams who've been playing a ton of games.
Yep. Now, speaking of a matchup, though, that I'm sure you both will have a little bit more excitement for, Dallas versus Philly, which on Twitter has been spicy AF. They have been memeing the crap out of each other. As you can see, JT is repping his legendary Dallas Fuel shirt, which kind of mirrors the Houston one I wore, and they're both super nice and super comfortable. Just right, JT? Super comfortable, right?
Very comfortable,
right?
I because of your recommendation went with long sleeve.
It's so
and it
good.
is so comfortable.
You need to get a hoodie next time. Those hoodies are so comfortable, man.
Yeah, but I can't in Texas. I can't wear a hoodie.
I only wear it in the house. Like
this shirt is so comfortable, though.
It's amazing. Anyways, we're not trying to make this an ad.
You know what's not
Sponsor
comfortable?
us,
please.
You know what's not comfortable?
What?
I can't even speak.
It's
A 3-0 loss.
Woo!
Dallas taking a spanking.
Hey,
That's uncomfortable.
I hate to tell you this.
Oh boy.
So let's go through the history of this matchup. So, unlike you who live in week by week, I, 10 million IQ, look at what happens.
The third eye.
There's this thing called patterns.
Oh god.
What happened last time? Philadelphia was this hot team killing everyone, top 5 last year.
Mm-hmm.
They rolled up on Dallas, and Dallas was like 3-0. And they were bad last year, and they beat a top 5 team convincingly. Dallas is looking sexy this year.
Granted, that argument was for last year's team. For both of them, this is a new, fresher team.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's for both sides there.
I am saying historically we beat Philadelphia,
even
when we're ranked way lower than them. And this year, we have a great team. We've already proven we can play against the top 5, and now we've got some wins under our belt against lesser teams. We've got some momentum going into it now.
It's quite an argument there. How you gonna cap on that, Nova?
Decay.
It's pretty easy. It's called Philadelphia cream cheese, and
what?
That is gross. No.
Where is this coming from?
New argument. That's terrible.
Philadelphia cream cheese. You know what that's put on?
Bagels?
If this argument was your team, it would be the worst team in the league.
I have to build up, okay?
Let's see where this is going. It's losing me, but it's interesting.
Philadelphia cream cheese bagel. I mean, that's cream cheese. You put it on a bagel.
Yeah.
You know when you eat bagels in the morning?
Yes, I'm Jewish.
Okay.
You know who sings that song, the morning? That doesn't have to do with anything.
Jews love bagels, man.
I think
my dad bought bagels.
Okay.
Today. This is leading to Dallas getting 3-0.
What?
This is the worst argument I've ever heard in my entire life.
I could literally make a better argument for this team. It's not even my team. What the frick?
What is that?
Watch,
Yeah.
there's gonna be something about a bagel in this competition. Someone's gonna bring it up, and my third eye would have opened.
Am I having a stroke? Like, what the frick?
What's that? My dad bought a bagel.
Philadelphia
O's.
cream cheese in the morning.
Okay, have you
And
ever
that
seen
leads
that
to Dallas
meme?
3-0.
I know you've all seen this meme, but the dude from Philadelphia is Always Sunny or whatever that show is. I've actually never seen it. Where he's got the like
Yeah,
board
it's always
behind
sunny
him.
in Philadelphia.
Is it? I don't actually. I've never seen the show,
Likewise.
but I've seen the meme
good.
where he's got all the red lines. That's you. My dad bought bagels. My dad bought bagels. Philadelphia wins 3-0. What?
Yes,
You got Philadelphia cream
I
cheese.
support that.
Bagels in the morning by my dad. Philadelphia 3-0.
Philadelphia 3-0. It makes sense. It's all connected. Why would he buy it? Why would he buy it then?
What?
Why would he buy
I'm moving
Philadelphia
off
cream
of
cheese
this. I'm
bagels
literally about
and
to have a mental
bagels?
breakdown.
It's game 5. Dallas wins it.
God bless America.
There's no correlation in that.
Yes, there is. I've got historical evidence.
Skip it.
I'm
Skip it.
done with both. Shut
Just
up.
skip it.
San Francisco, Toronto. Okay.
Guess what?
that's
That's
a
both of us.
3-0.
Yeah, so we can talk again. Haha, you fell into a trap. San
You
Francisco.
activated my trap card.
Yeah, exactly. San Francisco,
Easy.
Rio, no problem. We obviously saw Toronto having a struggle last week, and what's it called? About to say DeAndre. Ha ha ha. His name's Captain Zeus.
Well, you already said it, so.
Captain Zeus said last week, "Oh, is Toronto possibly gonna win?" Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah, that
And
was funny.
That was a staple in Toronto's team dynamic. That they're a team that's like, "Oh, we might win. Never mind. We're getting back on the bus to go back home." But actually, by bus, it means just turn off for PCs and stuff. But you know what I mean. So San
You got to
Francisco.
work on your analogies, man.
I think they're fantastic. I personally like the Shanghai one.
This guy is literally prepping
And
the
they're
crap
high.
out of himself right now.
Going ahead. I never seen you support Toronto until like the earlier of the season. So I don't know what you're gonna do now. San Francisco, they got it. Even though they lost my boy Sinatra. By the way, Sinatra coming out with a new skin, Zarya skin.
That'll be
I'm waiting
spicy.
for that. I'm waiting for that. Yeah, they should be good. They should still
Okay,
be good.
it's my turn.
Go ahead.
Okay, Toronto is going to come to this game all hyped up. They're going to have their fan base behind them. They're ready to go, man.
do they
They're
ever?
ready to get 3-0'd by that shock.
Shocking.
Ooh.
It's not very shocking, actually.
They do like a Zoom
I
call
hate that I
with
support
fans,
this
just
team.
like fans on Zoom calls, like yeah. That's how they get fans.
Yeah. Toronto had so much like, you know what? Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
No.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
No, don't do this.
Canadian team. Maybe they'll pick up some Vancouver team
Do it.
that happens to be free right now.
Mm.
I've heard that's a great organization. You wouldn't have to move very far.
Actually, I would love to
Technically,
see
yeah.
them pick up some people.
Dude, I would be.
And then
There's a
just go
lot of teams that
on
need to
a
pick up these guys.
dominant sweep, just like starts, just like
You okay
that'd be
then?
awesome.
Oh my gosh. I just had like a vision of seeing Twilight and J. Jonak on the same team.
No.
That would be so good.
And that's how the world ended, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, so we'll just move off of that to conclude this session here. We already knew Florida's going to beat Vancouver. You just had to figure out how, and we talked about that. So I think that wraps this up here. Any comments, thoughts, concerns? I'm still reeling in from a mental breakdown that was almost happening here.
London wins both their games this week. New York can suck it. And
There's so much confidence in what you're saying.
and Hangzhou 3-0 Spark. Okay, I'm good.
Hangzhou is Spark.
You need to end this video, please.
Okay,
Hunks
so
up
let me just
free
get my
deals.
points out.
JT, go.
Hold on. I got some points real quick. New York wins.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
let's just not even. We don't even need to talk about that. And Dallas, if I've heard anything about bagels in Overwatch today, that is a sign that definitely Dallas has to win because you can't even make an argument. We need to end this. This is terrible.
Okay, I'm ending
Please end
this.
it. I'm having a stroke.
So many things were happening in this video. Let us know in the comments how you think this week will turn out and if Vancouver is going to be able to come back from this. Don't forget to check out our D&D vids that we got. We got hero pool vids, and we also got our top plays. You know, a new little style that I put out there. Hope you guys like it. Chicka chicka. And I'm Captain Zeus, followed by JT and what I think is Novaburst. I don't know. He might be having
I don't
a
know,
stroke.
man.
Could be an artificial intelligence. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.
Peace.